There we go. All right. So, like I was saying earlier, this is a Winterscape by Monet that I stumbled upon while looking for images to incorporate into some of my classes. You are welcome to work in whatever medium you would like. I will be drawing this. I am gearing up for a drawing season with the Smithsonian, so I alternate my seasons. What I teach with the Smithsonian. Last fall, I had a watercolor season, so this winter, I am about to begin a drawing season. And I will admit, with the exception of a watercolor painting I made for my nephew for Christmas, I haven't really been practicing. So this is going to be a nice way for me to warm up.
Nick,
Hello, Debbie.
hello. Could you make that just a little bit bigger?
Of course. I'm gonna do this, but I'm also, let me, we can make my desk a little bit smaller. It's more important for you all to see the
Thank
image.
you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. And actually, if we're gonna be, no, that's perfectly fine.
And
Um,
Nick,
hello, Nikki.
since you've mentioned this drawing for your nephew a couple of times, any chance you can share that with us?
Yeah, I'll show you at the end of the session. How about that?
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Um, I'll tell you about it now, but I will show it to you at the end of the session. Um, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with a animator named Hayao Miyazaki, very well-known Japanese filmmaker and animator. Um, his films or his studio is known as Studio Ghibli. There is a movie he made called My Neighbor Totoro, Totoro. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it. But that was the first movie I watched with my nephew. So I thought for Christmas this year, I would make him a little painting of the characters from My Neighbor Totoro. And I'll show that to you at the end. Let's see, I'm gonna make this just a touch brighter.
When
Okay,
my
so like I
kids were
said, oh
little,
yeah.
they watched Totoro.
Your kids watch Totoro?
Yep.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, great film. Great film. Ends on a really heartwarming note. Um, And Totoro as a character is just iconic in a way. So yeah, I'll share. He's a big fluff ball, basically. I am so I'm working in pencil. I've got a few fun little tools that I'm going to be using. So I've got a pencil. I don't know. I love odds and ends. It's my favorite stuff, my favorite things to work with. So I've got a graphite stick or a couple graphite sticks of different hardnesses. This is a 2B in the middle, a 9B, which I'll use at the very end for my really dark marks. And then I have an HB pencil here. And looking at this image, I usually like to start with a bit of a rectangle just to make myself perfectly aware of everything that's inside the frame. Okay, so I start with a rectangle roughly the size of what I'm going to be drawing. And I'm actually going to start with this guy. I see this corner here in the image as really the lightest moments in the whole image. So I want to protect that. I don't want to put too many marks here yet until I'm ready to get into these verticals of the fence and the tree. But now that I know that this corner, or now that I've determined that this corner is the lightest, everything else can be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to take this graphite stick and sort of rub it sideways everywhere else to give, just to start shaping my frame. Right. Maybe a wee bit more right here. Right. And I'm feeling kind of playful. So I'm gonna take my pencil here, my HB, okay? And I think I'm just gonna start sort of scribbling in some of the shapes I see. I'm not gonna have too much rhyme or reason to it, but my eyes are taken by the smoke here. So I'm just gonna move in the shapes that I see up in this steam coming or smoke coming from the train here. And just follow wherever that goes. And then as I get down to this chimney, I'm gonna start going a little bit more vertically and then horizontally to start getting in the shape of that train. I don't know if you can hear it, but the scratching of my pencil on the paper sort of sounds like the chugging of a train, which is nice. I'll leave some openings for those headlights. Right. Let's see, I think I'm a little low, as in I think I've gone a little too far down, so I can erase things just a little bit. Alright. So I'm just following the shape of this train. I'm not worrying too much about getting the darkness perfect or anything like that, but I usually like to start my sketches just, doing one lap around the whole image, sort of visiting every different part of the image, seeing what's there. I think it's important to sort of address everything first, even if it's just with a couple cursory strokes, because all of these pieces come together to form the image. So I don't want to give all the attention to just one part of the image before moving on to the next. I want to I want to bring them together right from the outset. For these trees, I think I'll just use the same spirit I did for the plume of smoke. I'm just going to keep my pencil on the page and sort of let it behave and move the way I see the branches, the bare winter branches of these trees behaving and moving. Sometimes with textures like this, instead of trying to analyze and count every single branch, I just try to play and behave the way I see the branches moving. And then I'll get some of these verticals in. So I'm shading in some of the architecture in the background there. Maybe we'll do a little more on this fence. Embellish these headlights a little bit. Then I want to put in some of the shapes that I see to the left over here. When I'm drawing, I'm not worrying too much about trying to distinguish, is that a person? Is that a part of the train? Is that a part of the fence? Just wherever my eye sees dark and whatever dark shape my eye sees, I try to recreate that with my pencil. All right. A little bit higher this chimney. So I've moved from the train into the fence, and I'm already losing a little bit of this light line that travels through the fence here. So I'm going to take my eraser and try and bring some of that back. There we go. It's good enough for now. All right. So I've got a little, I've nothing's perfect, but I've at least said hello to everything inside this frame. So I'm gonna take a step back, look now, what, look at the whole image that I have and try and determine, okay, what needs to be adjusted a little bit. So in my light corner down on the right, I want to shape this area a little bit further, just with some light strokes in the snow here. It's not all perfectly white. So I want to get some of that nuance in there. Right. There's a lot more sort of traffic of these branches. And I could darken some of these trunks as well. Right. Now I'm going to go back to where I started with the smoke. I can see now that I've started working on everything, the smoke definitely needs to be a little bit darker, as well as just generally this whole, you know, top 2/3 of the image. Actually, let me go back to my graphite stick here and just brush in a little more darkness. And just sort of playing with the tools I have here. Trying to learn what I could do with them. Go back to the smoke. All right, getting there. All right, so now I'm just going back over some of the foundational shapes that I've started with. And I'm just seeing what needs to be darker and making it a little bit darker. I move around a lot when I draw, not like in my chair, but on the page. Um, I like to develop all the elements of my drawing together. I think it's really important to maintain a bit of cohesion. So instead of focusing on just the fence until I get it perfect and done, and then the train until it's perfect and done, I kind of move around and do some little touches everywhere, um, which helps me see how all the pieces relate to one another, specifically in terms of value. I think value is really important in drawing. I mean, it's really all you have in drawing. You have shape, line, value, not much else to work with to make your whole image happen. Um, and making sure that all of the values in the image sort of work together, I think is really important. So I try to develop everything at the same time.
Hi, Nick. This is Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, I always have a hard time being more random with my marks, like with the fence in the front here and the fence on the side, to just try to be not like, okay, one, two, three, four, five, and then to make it look like I'm not trying to be random. Do you have a
Okay.
trick on that?
You're talking specifically about the fences?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just
Okay.
feeling my marks are a little bit too consistent.
Yeah. So instead of like trying to count the individual lines,
Right.
think of this whole thing as a shape. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A rectangle. It's not a perfect square, a rectangle. And then because you see it's a rhythm of vertical lines, I would just try and create a rhythm of vertical lines until you've filled up that shape.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Just, but not make them stick straight.
well, I mean, you can do that. You can play with that as much as you want, but like
Yeah.
specifically in that corner that I was talking about, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I see it as a shape. I don't see it as individual marks. I see it as a whole shape. And I try to visualize where that shape is going to go on my page. And then instead of like drawing the outline of that shape, I just try to fill in that shape with vertical marks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you'll see like I've done here, they don't all start at the same spot. They don't all end at the same spot. That kind of helps with the randomness. I do it
Yes.
pretty quickly. I'm also, I'm pretty practiced with hatch marks, so it is natural for my hand to make, a series of lines to fill up a shape or block in an area like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but another thing I would suggest is I don't know how you're holding your pencil, but when I do my hatch marks, I'm flicking my wrist
Ah.
like
Mm-hmm.
this. So I'm
Yes.
not doing this.
You're not drawing, you're flicking.
I'm flicking. Yes. Yes, this is the monthly Masterwork flicking hour here. Pencil flicking. We are masters at
That's a
pencil
good
flicking.
technique. That's a good tip because, right, to flick versus individually drawing is a
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold a normal size pencil. But like just for example, if I'm holding it like I'm writing and I move, all the movement comes from my knuckles, and my brain automatically thinks, oh, we're used to writing this way, we're used to making very precise lettering this way. So you sort of fall into precise mode when you have a pencil in your hand like this, and all of your movement is coming from your knuckles.
Mm.
Whereas from my wrist, I have a lot less control, but you can make everything go in the same direction. You see? And it's not as precise, but it allows for a little bit of that variety and that beautiful balance of variety and repetition that you're going for with your randomness.
Got it. Yes, thank you.
Of course. Some of the other randomness that I'm achieving here is just like the branches up here, for example. I'm literally just putting my pencil on the page, not lifting it up from the page, and just sort of scribbling branches, sort of generally in the shape and the way that I see them. Um, I don't have a nifty little trick for those. See if I can do this.
And how do you get the shading like between the branches or just in general? Is that a scribble?
Shading between the
Well,
branches.
well,
Yeah, like
just
which
sort
part?
of, uh-huh.
Which part, Laura?
The with the branches, see, you don't see individual branches too much because there's some kind of, you've darkened it inside the branches somehow with some kind of
Right.
mark.
Yeah, so I use this graphite stick
Mm-hmm.
and I basically just rubbed like the whole
Ah,
sky with a couple
mm-hmm.
layers so that my paper in those areas was already a little bit dark.
Got it. Yeah, that's
So
effective.
that was the first thing I did. Yeah, yeah. And I
That
mean,
was
you
done
could
before
even,
you started the branches. I see. Mm-hmm.
it was before I started the branches, but even if I wanted to now, I could take this and still rub it in and it'll darken everything, and that's fine. That's okay. I can darken the sky this way. I don't know. This is just a fun little tool that I found in my
Mm-hmm.
apartment when I got back. So I thought I'd use it in the practice hour. But what's nice about big tools like this, and this is not just for Laura, this is for everyone, big tools like this or big tools like this that make really big, wide marks, drawing with something that makes really wide marks helps your eye, for example, that right there, if I go, you know, oh, not so much that one, but you get what I'm saying. It makes a really wide mark. It's not like a pencil tip. It helps your eye see areas of dark and light. Not everything in a drawing is necessarily, a mark done with the point of a pencil. All right. So I have to ask one of our newest friends to the practice hour, Kathleen. Um, since you said that you're joining the Marchutz summer program this year, I'm just curious, how did you find out about the Marchutz program and um, what, informed your decision to sign up? Were you looking for an art program abroad? I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, actually, I had just retired. And so I thought it's just something I've always wanted to do. I went to art school, but then I kind of had to, do work in graphic design and all these other things. And I kind of wanted to get back to doing art. And I'd kind of looked in the south of France where all the other impressionists were. And then I found the school that way.
Okay, wonderful. Happy to hear that. Well, I'm very excited for you.
Me too. I'm real excited and excited to meet everybody.
Yeah. You'll be visiting some of the locations where Cezanne painted and Van Gogh painted. And some of those locations, only students at the Marchutz School are allowed to go.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I think I was most excited about too. Just
oh, great.
really seeing what they saw and how they interpreted it, and just just the whole. It's just something I've always thought that would be so neat to see.
Yeah, it's very neat. It's
Light
very
mostly, yeah.
the one more. Sorry, it's one more time.
Mostly the light. How everybody talks about the light because they've never really, been there yet, and so I'm real curious to see what that's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll be doing some day trips to visit the painting sites of Cezanne one day, Van Gogh the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with the Chateau Noir, where Cezanne had a studio and painted very often, but that's somewhere we get to visit, and we are the only ones allowed there.
Oh, that's
Um, yeah, and the light is something special. It's a very stable light. I mean, it's like Southern California. It's sunny all the time,
great.
and because the sun is so, well, the sun is very bright, and there's a wind from the north that sort of blows away any pollution in the air. So it's a very clear sky and a very clear light that stays consistent. So it makes for very good landscape painting because it doesn't change too much throughout the day.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I lived in Oregon for a lot of my time. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. Pacific Northwest is a different vibe. I am I'm in Dublin, Ireland right now. That's where I live. And especially in the winter time, this
Mhm.
painting the light in this painting, this is about as bright as it gets on a winter day. All right, so now I've switched to my 9B graphite stick. I've sharpened it to a bit more of a point. This is the darkest pencil I have, so I'm trying to achieve the darkest marks that I see in this image with this.
Do you usually give yourself an hour to sketch?
Um, that's a really good question. I I think okay, when I think of like my favorite art activities, that's kind of how I think about it now. I don't think about like I make this kind of art or et cetera, et cetera. I just have a couple favorite art activities. Sketching is one of them. Sketching outdoors specifically. When I'm outdoors, either drawing or watercoloring, I'd say I usually go for an hour and a half. That's more common for me. Um, an hour and a half, maybe sometimes up to 2 hours. Rarely more than that. I usually just get tired, frankly. Um, but sometimes it could be shorter, you know, 45 minutes maybe. I'd say typically when I want to sit down or go outside and sketch, it's anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes. That's the most typical. It's an hour here just because I figured that would be convenient for everyone. I don't want to occupy your entire Sunday, but gives us enough time to to settle into a drawing.
I work at the volunteer at the Walters Art Museum in Baltimore, and
Okay.
I bought a sketchbook in the museum shop, and I told myself I'll sketch after every session I volunteer. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to do it quickly, but nope, it's usually an hour for me to
Yeah,
feel satisfied with capturing the piece on paper."
absolutely. Yeah. Um, and Laura, like let's say this spring, as you continue volunteering and you get more comfortable with it, you go through a season where instead of an hour, 30 minutes feels more comfortable. That's okay too. That doesn't make it any less of a drawing than your hour-long drawings. It's just different. And who knows, maybe next year you may find that, you know, 3 hours or 4 hours is what you need to scratch your itch, and that's okay too.
That's a good way to think about it, that it could evolve. But I
Absolutely.
think doing the 30 minutes is where I would want to be looser, more quick with my sketch and be looser with it versus detailed. It's always seems to be the quest is to be looser.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe there's room for me to write some classes or programs around that. I already have one, but I think it could be better. But also, setting a timer if you want to practice, setting a timer is something that I mean, if you've taken a class with me, I time a lot of our exercises.
Yes.
But it's okay to set a timer for yourself. Maybe maybe you need to make sure that there's money in the meter or something like that. Um, but yeah, that could be a way to sort of get you to not nitpick and fuss over details as much.
It's hard not to try to be a perfectionist, to be perfect with it. That's another dilemma, I think, with the practice of art.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I want every sketch in my sketchbook to be presentable. I need to get past that.
I think we all do. It's the hardest thing for me. Oh, it's not perfect. You should throw it away. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I never throw anything away. I have all my pieces, every sketch I've made for the last 3 years. I've been taking Nick's courses for the last at least two. And I have
mhm.
every exercise he's done. And it's good to go back and reflect and like, oh gosh, that was not too bad. Oh gosh, that was pretty bad. See where the
Yeah.
evolution is.
Yeah.
I just
I
found out
mean,
about the Walter Museum and I'll be going there in the next couple months. So I'm really excited.
Oh, good, good. Yes, it's a free museum in Baltimore. Yes, nonprofit. It was founded by a father and a son back in in the 30s, and of course they bought a lot of pieces in Europe and the Middle East when they could. So definitely worth the trip.
What's the name of the museum?
It's called the Walters
Oh, the
Art
Walters.
Museum.
Yes,
Uh-huh, the
I've been there.
Walters,
That
yes.
I've
Uh-huh.
been there.
Yeah.
just going back to the idea of making things presentable or wanting to prove or the perfectionism, I think it's perfectly normal. You know, so much of art is associated with exhibiting it,
Yeah.
and it's very common for people to, feel that way, and really in any new, um, maybe hobby, you could say, like something that I'm really proud of last year is that I made an effort to cook more. Um, and there's a little bit of, I guess I held a little bit of intimidation because um, my wife is French, and it's very easy for her to just come up with ideas and jump in the kitchen and make something delicious for us to eat. And that's not quite so natural or fluid for me. So I hesitated a lot because I was like, oh God, she's gonna have to eat the things that I make. You know what I mean? Um, and that can, encumber you with all sorts of expectations that you have of yourself. But with if you can protect and maintain your motivation to keep coming back to the practice, whether it's cooking or whether it's drawing or painting or whatever, you know, bit by bit, you're putting one foot in front of the other and you'll get past it. You'll get past the point where you feel like practice needs to be about proving something to someone or making something presentable for someone else. Um, and who knows, maybe that might be something that's motivating to some of us, wanting to share your work with others and show what you've done. And there's definitely lots of excitement in that. But I think there comes a point maybe where you graduate past that, and there's other joys that you find in the practice that don't involve, approval or validation from others. And that's a really sweet spot to get to. So
I
who
just
knows, maybe that
find
could be a goal for this year. Sorry, Nikki, yeah, what's up?
I just find it so satisfying to work with color. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
well, it's a beautiful sunny day where I am right now, but often it's where it looks like this photograph. It's like, man, Nick, why did you choose that one? But but um but it just gives me a chance to just saturate myself with color. And
Mm,
I just love what that does for me.
okay.
And it's fun to see improvement too, and to learn and grow. And I'm doing this purely for my own enjoyment, not for anybody else's. But I'm
I love
really
that.
getting satisfaction from this.
That's fantastic.
I was working on a poem this morning about it's called The Warm Up and kind of about what we're talking about can the warming up for a tennis match, drawing spirals to draw, can that be meaningful in itself?
Hmm. I definitely think so.
There's something else. I am a potter. I've been doing it for 30 years, so I'm completely, I sell my work, et cetera, et cetera. And the point at which I got, quote, good, I didn't even see the transition. It just kind of happened.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't worry about who was going to buy something.
Mm,
That was very helpful not to worry about it.
yeah.
I think it's good to I've joined a couple watercolor clubs or societies here near Baltimore.
Hmm.
And the Annapolis Watercolor Club had a holiday luncheon in person, and they asked everybody to bring a piece in to display, and then they put pads down by your piece that people could comment on it. So that's the first time I've brought in a piece of mine feeling it was presentable enough, I guess. So
Nice.
that was a good experience. And so
Yeah, very good.
they call it the art salon. So they have the Zoom meetings coming up with the threat of weather. And so you can submit a piece or two that they show at the beginning of the monthly meeting. So I'm going to submit a couple pieces. I am going to submit a couple of yours eventually, Nick, that you will do this in 10 minutes. And that's what I'm going to share. Did this Turner in 10 minutes. Turner certainly isn't a replica at all, but it has the essence, or I guess one of your courses is essential
Yeah. Yeah,
pieces
essence
of it.
over detail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's good to hear people's opinions or how they react. They
totally.
see things I don't see. It's like, oh, yeah, I could have done that or should do this or thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thinking about what Katie was just talking about now with the warm up. Um, I do think the warm up can be just as important. When I think of warming up, um, I think of warming up as a way to sort of bring my attention into my body or into my senses or into the present moment.
Mm,
Warming up is sort of like it's like a bridge from, whatever typically anxious, overthinking thought loops I may be having about, what's on my to-do list or what I'm going to make for dinner or whatever. Um, and warming up is sort of, yeah, a bridge from that into my body, into my senses, into the here and now. Um, and for me, a lot of why I practice art is for how grounding and centering it is, um, how it makes me feel more present. So if warming up is, all I need to achieve that, then yeah, I think it's very valuable, at least in my experience and in my practice. Um, so just a heads up, everyone, we're gonna go for about 10 more minutes, all right? And then we'll take a group screenshot of our work that will be sent to you by Rose. And then for those who are curious, I'll share my Totoro watercolor that I made for my nephew.
Nice.
How did you like using the water pen on the last session? Your
Yeah,
mother's
the
water
water pen.
pen.
I did like it.
I made a
I
note to ask him, and did he steal it?
did I steal it?
Oh well, if it's your mother's, it's yours anyway. But yeah, I'm
Oh,
notorious for lifting things from my mother.
oh no. Yeah, no, my mother's not a painter. Well, I mean, she actually she definitely has the artist spirit, but she doesn't practice. She can draw, but no, the art supplies. I think all of my art supplies, the entire sum of my art supplies are split between my place and her place. I can visualize right now like three drawers full of stuff at her place.
But how
Um,
did you like the water pen itself? Because
I
that's actually what I learned with.
yeah, I do like it. I like it a lot. I wouldn't say I think it's something I've been trying to get comfortable with for a couple of years now. And I only really get to use it when I'm sort of in between teaching seasons. Um, because I don't want to confuse my students by using this like random device that they may not have at home. And it handles water differently. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but I love, I'm all about being lightweight with supplies. To me, the fewer supplies, the better. So if I can go outside and sketch and not need to bring like a couple containers of water to do a watercolor, to me that's magnificent. So I'm getting more comfortable with, and I do like it a lot. Um, it's kind of a different kind of painting though. It's a little more direct. Like it's more about brush strokes, which is great. Um, so I'm like sketching with brush strokes. I feel less comfortable doing washes with them, for example. Um, but it's no, I really like it. I mean, I have them out on my table right now, and I hope to practice with them more. Something that I've seen people do, and I'll bring one here so you all can see what I'm talking about. So these are the brush
Oh,
It's
The
yeah.
also good to, Nick, it's also good to know that if you try a water brush and you don't like it, try a different brand because
ooh,
they're different.
okay. Yeah, certainly. I believe that. Yeah. Um, I have a couple different ones here. So I'll show you. This is like a flat square that I really like.
Hmm.
And this is
Ooh.
broad, but not quite as wide. But you can get quite a point if I turn it sideways. So if you've never seen these before, the idea is that the body of these things are just
Hmm.
empty reservoirs that you can fill with water. And you don't have to worry about dunking your brush in water all the time if you're working in watercolor. Something I do want to try is I want to try devoting a couple of these. Um, I've seen people, instead of putting water in here, they'll put ink, or maybe they'll make a mixture of ink, like 50-50 ink water, and put them inside these brushes, and then just kind of like sketch. And that really intrigues me. I haven't tried that yet, but that really, really intrigues me, and I'd like to play with that a little bit more. So yeah.
Recording in progress.
Cool. All right, everyone, have about 5 more minutes. Hmm, where's that coming
What?
Are you going to use this in your new sci-fi movie or what?
from? My new sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the next class I haven't told you about yet.
good.
Science fiction illustration.
Ooh, too bad. Too much. Too much.
So what is your definition of copyist versus, well, do you have a definition for I heard that term not long ago and I was like, am I a copyist versus an artist?
No, I mean copies are just a more colloquial term for masterwork reproduction, which is a pretty common way for artists to practice. Um, so Van Gogh, for example, he's a great example of an artist who made copies of works by other artists to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he did copies of Japanese woodblock prints by Hiroshige and Hokusai. He did copies of works by Rembrandt and Millet and Delacroix, and none of them are forgeries. Okay. They are done in his touch, in his handwriting, but it's it's a way of studying. It's a way of practicing. Um, I think it's just a tool for an artist to deepen their practice, to um, sharpen their vision, to learn something from an artist that came before them. It's pretty common in art schools, art classrooms to do. Um, so I wouldn't I wouldn't say it makes you any less of an artist. Like a musician, even a musician that composes their own music may, in their formation, have spent a lot of time studying other musicians before them. So
Mm-hmm.
I see it more as a form of study. It's probably one of my favorite forms of practice.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was talking about earlier with like my favorite painting or my favorite art activities. Um, I don't think of myself as a I don't think of myself as a sky painter or a copy artist, but painting sunsets, sketching sunsets at golden hour, and painting or drawing copies are just my favorite art activities. Um, yeah. So I like to bring that to my classes. As you could probably tell, a lot of the work
Mm-hmm.
I do in class is copy work. And part of that is to hopefully open people's eyes to, yeah, the activity of drawing, sketching, copying other people's paintings. Um, to me, sitting down with an art book that I picked up at a used bookstore and just drawing some of the things I see in there, it's like listening to my favorite jazz record. That's kind of how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of my watercolor in my watercolor, they were sort of teasing me that are you copying something now, Laura? It's like, yes. Because they go from their own reference photos mostly. And I'm not quite, I'm not showing anything or anything like that. So, but I am learning a lot from all the exercises you have us do like this today. It's amazing.
Mm, mm,
This is
yeah.
this is how I practice is by copying from pieces of art that I just really enjoy. So I've been copying Matisse and Klimt and Durain and Gauguin. So um, it's helping me to try to figure out how to blend colors and how to come up with depth of pigment and all of that just by copying what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, everyone, let's just go less than a minute, okay? So let's start wrapping up the part of the image we're working on, and then we will begin to close this session. Um, Laura, I will say, your friends who are working from reference images, they're using the same skills that you're using. It's not like they're using a different set of skills just because they're working from a photograph and you're working from, um, a reproduced image of someone's painting. It's
Mm-hmm.
all vision. you're both recognizing color and shape and value and color temperature and composition, et cetera, et cetera. So don't let them act like they're better than you just because you're copying.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, everyone. I am going to remove the image, okay, in just a moment. And then I'm going to ask you all to hold up your drawings so I can take a quick screenshot that will be emailed back to you. Lovely work. Lovely work. Yes. Beautiful train, Deb. Nice. All right. Yeah, just waiting for a couple more. And let me put this away. Excellent, everyone. Oh, Barbara, upside down. There you go. Honest mistake. All right, everyone, hold them up. Keep them there. They look beautiful. They look beautiful. Lovely. All right, everyone. Real quick, there are links for you in the chat, okay? So remember, you can visit my website to sign up for free mini critiques. Oh, I forgot to show you. The next practice hour will be on February 8th, okay? 2 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern, February 8th. Be sure to sign up for practice memos on my website as well, so you can get for the registration link, so you can get all of that at my website. The first link. The second link, join the Leo Marchutz School in Venice this April. The third link, see what else the Marchutz School has to offer. And if you'd like to contribute to the mission of the school, you can visit that fourth link. So click all of those now so you have them open on your computer before this session ends and they go away. And for a little bonus, let me get my Totoro painting up here. So where would it be? It'll be here. Actually, I'll show it to you this way. Small group watercolor, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, 5. Beautiful. And switch these guys. All right, so I'll share this and we can all look at it together. All right, so this is the painting.
Oh,
Oh,
wonderful.
great.
Wow.
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Totoro's been around a long time.
Totoro's been around a long
Yeah,
time.
even when my kids were little.
Yeah. So that's the Totoro painting I did
Nice.
for Milo, my nephew. It started like this. I'll show you a quick process. So it started like this, and then just going through the different stages, I worked up in layers, making the night sky darker, which in turn makes the moon brighter, getting in some of the details and the figures. I love the mouth here. That the top, okay, if you've taken my essence over details class, that mouth and its shape is the essence of that character. That's all you need right there.
That's great.
Anyways, so that is the Totoro watercolor that I gave to Milo.
Wonderful.
You could be a children's book illustrator.
Illustrator. Yeah. Cool.
That's great.
It's awesome.
Very good.
All right,
I bet
everyone.
he's thrilled.
Thank you so much for joining me. If practicing more was your resolution for 2026, you are already well on your way. Okay.
Right.
Have a great rest of your weekend. And I hope to see you soon. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, everyone.
Happy New Year,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Nice to
Bye.
see everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.